Last week, I had this video for you of UFC fighter Bryce Mitchell saying he knows nothing about Ukraine and Russia, and then he listed a bunch of conspiracies. He was naturally invited onto Tucker Carlson's show to give his expertise. Just as a reminder, here's the original viral clip from UFC fighter Bryce Mitchell, which we looked at last week.
Well, I just wanted to get your thoughts on the whole Russia and Ukraine situation.
You know, here's my first thought is I'm not going nowhere to fight none of these wars for these politicians. I'm staying at home, and when the war comes to Arkansas, I will dig my boots in the ground, and I will die for everything I love, and I will not retreat. If this country's invaded and everybody's saying, well, we gotta evacuate, we gotta leave, I will not. I will dig my boots in the Arkansas soil, and I will fight for the people that I love, for the land that I love, and the way of life that I love. But I'm not going overseas to fight. I don't know what's going on, to be honest, brother. I really don't. There's so much stuff, and I don't think nobody knows what's going on fully. There's been so much political corruption in that area. You got Biden and his son making a shit ton of money off of and using our tax dollars to bribe their people. That's treasonous, in my opinion.
Okay, so he said, remember, he doesn't know what's going on, but then he gave a whole bunch of unsubstantiated opinions. So, of course, he gets the hero's welcome on Tucker Carlson's program. No question whatsoever. Let's take a look at that.
Coming on it for what you said, I haven't seen anybody express it better than you did. Why did you say that?
Well, thank you so much for having me, brother. And I said that because that's the first thing that I thought when he asked me, and I was trying to give him the best answer that I could, and that's just my genuine thoughts on the subject.
How do you get to be so honest when everyone else is afraid to say what they think?
Really getting, I mean, Tucker should be blushing over this, guys.
And you just kind of say it?
Well, I don't have to be worried about being fired from my job for saying what I want to say. There's a lot of people out there that do agree with me, but they can't say things that I get to say, even though they think them. They'll get fired from their job if they come out and say it.
Right. That is cancel culture.
White's pretty good with how he lets us talk and say what we want.
That is absolutely right and a fair thing to say. Now, people who say what you have said are often denounced as unpatriotic or traitors to their country. Does that confuse you, since the first thing you said was, I will fight and die for Arkansas?
By the way, they're pretending the controversy over this guy is that he said he wouldn't go and fight in Ukraine. That's not really the controversy. The controversy is he says, I don't know anything about what's going on, and I don't think anybody does, which is a classic move from these people to say, nope, anything you're hearing is probably not true. But then he spreads disinformation, conspiracy theories. That's the problem, not that he doesn't want to go and fight over there.
That'd be the greatest honor I could ever have, brother. So I'm far from not being a patriot. You know, that'd be the greatest thing I could do is die defending this land. So I'm not afraid to do that. I'm just not wanting to go waste my life fighting for some of these battles that I don't even believe in.
That's great. Nobody's criticizing him for that.
You know, I believe our leaders, a lot of these elites are guilty of treason. What they've done is just treasonous.
Right. And again, he just gets into this who did treason and what exactly. When in the last segment he mentioned treason, he was talking about Joe and Hunter Biden. That's the treason. And this is exactly how people who don't know anything end up in positions where they're telling millions of people about their ignorant beliefs. Remember, he said, I don't know what's going on there, and then went on to give all sorts of different statements about what he thinks is going on. And he was wrong about all of it. He doesn't want to fight. Great. Lots of people don't. That makes a lot of sense. Why would you go over and fight there? You don't have to do that. That's not the moral test you have to pass. But then he repeats all of this nonsense, and then Tucker brings him on to repeat it again. It's really dangerous stuff that's going on right now in right-wing media. One of our longtime sponsors is Vincero Collective. If you don't know Vincero yet, it's the place to go for quality watches, sunglasses, and more. Serious style, undeniable quality, and total versatility put Vincero really at the top of the game, and their newest watch release is no exception. It's the Argo Automatic. It spotlights everything I love about Vincero. I got the Argo Automatic in frost white. This is a dive watch, which is, of course, a staple in the watch world, but I really think Vincero found a way to make this one stand out. I love the gradient blue accent of the hour markers against the solid white face. I really love all of their watches, and I own a bunch, but the Argo is probably my favorite so far. Vincero sunglasses and jewelry and other accessories are awesome too. An excellent way to elevate any outfit. Vincero Collective is giving my audience 15% off all products and free shipping. Go to vincerocollective.com/Pacman and use the code Pacman. The link is down below.